Welcome back to Plex Vintage Game Room. I'm your host, Alex G. And with me on this episode is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
You're gonna get these hands!
Oh, boy. So on this episode, we're going to take a look at The Final Round. Now, The Final Round is a boxing arcade game released by Konami in 1988. I used to play this game all the time. I used to go to Kids Kingdom, which is a local, bigger than an arcade, is like a amusement center, like a Dave and Buster's, or like better than a Chuck E. Cheese, obviously. I had my 10th birthday party there, and no one showed up for it. So it was just me by myself with a whole lot of pizza. You know what I did? I walked around, like, you know, they get like the tokens and the cups. I just took all the cups with tokens in it and put it in a giant bag and went off and played for the rest of the day. But one of the games I did play was The Final Round. Now, in Japan, this game is called Hard Puncher: The Blood-Soaked Glory, which is a better name than The Final Round.
It sure is. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. When it comes down to this game, to me, I had a hard time with this game. Like, I got to the second guy and couldn't beat him, which sucks. And I wonder if that has something to do with the fact that I was using an Xbox controller instead of a fight stick or arcade joysticks. So I went and bought one. So on the next set of games that I record, I'll be using my fight stick on that. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. A couple of interesting things about this game right off the bat, that you get to allocate 100 points for your skills. So you have 3 skills, which is speed, power, and stamina. And you can kind of allocate those as you wish, you know, to make sure that, hey, you know, if you have more power, obviously you hit harder, and more speed, you're faster, and more stamina, it'll be harder to knock down, which is an interesting concept, especially for a 1988 boxing game. The characters include Jabbing Jim, also known as Rocky Smith in Japan. You had Gentleman Joe, Knockout Nick, Red Falco, the Mad Mongol, Iron Drago, Steel Fist Fritz, Bronx Bruiser, the Harlem Hitman, who's a murderous hitter from an unknown origins, but apparently in his name it says Harlem, so he's from Harlem. And finally, the KBA champion, Black Stallion, who is based on Mike Tyson.
Oh, okay.
So, again, for a boxing game, it's pretty good. The sprites are very large. The graphics are fantastic. You have these training sessions in between matches, so you do different things, whether it be getting speed by hitting, I guess bodies that pop out from the ground, and you can punch balls out of the air, and those are kind of fun. They kind of break up the action here a little bit, so which is pretty neat. There are multiple endings depending on how fast you beat the game and your total score, so that's interesting as well. This game is probably the brother of the wrestling game, The Main Event, because they use a lot of the same sounds for this game as well. So
okay,
that's pretty fun. They have some really cool cutscenes when you knock the guy out. Finally, they make and they kind of fall down to the ground, and you get a TKO after you knock them down 3 times. So that's pretty fun. But I mean, overall, it's a solid sports arcade game. Really can't find too much wrong with this game. I thought it was pretty good. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Well, I funny made the Main Event connection. I was going to say something that looks kind of similar graphics. I think they're missing Copyright Chet as one of the contenders. I always love games like that kind of skirt the laws. But
fuck your copyright.
Right.
Because clearly Knockout Nick is Mr. T.
Yes.
Like, right off the bat. And Iron Drago, clearly Ivan Drago from Rocky 4. A lot of Rocky connections in this game, so...
and, you know, and honestly, I was trying to think of this the other day. Like, what movie besides Rocky have had really? I mean, there's that one, Cinderella Man, a fighter with Mark Wahlberg. A friend of mine was in that movie actually. She's the stunning redhead in the front row of one of the fights. So that's my friend, MJ. Yeah. So I mean, you know, what movies do they really draw off of? I mean, wrestling, you have a whole cavalcade of things to choose from. But boxing wise, it's kind of Rocky and Rocky and Rocky.
They just copy. I mean, especially in the '80s at this point. It's either Rocky or Raging Bull, and Raging Bull it's a deeper movie. It's in black and white than Rocky, although Rocky does have his dramatic scenes in that film. So, but yeah, when it comes to the '80s, I mean, there were Rocky games. There was a Rocky game for the Sega Master System, which wasn't necessarily all that good, but I had it because it was Rocky. Rocky being my favorite film franchise of all time, big time Rocky fan. And since this game is sort of kind of based on Rocky a little bit, I want to talk about the Rocky franchise in general. Creed 2 has just been recently released.
And?
To acclaim. It was fucking awesome.
I haven't seen it yet. So
I'll say this, though. I think Creed 2 might be better than Creed 1.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's rare, but good.
Yeah, so I think, if they choose to end the Rocky/Creed series here, I think it would probably be a good spot to stop. If they have, if Stallone feels the need to retire the character finally, we'll see how that goes. There's another Rambo movie coming out shortly, so we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, Rambo's a cowboy, but that's a whole nother show that we'll do. We'll talk about Rambo being a cowboy. I think the big difference, if you want to separate Creed from Rocky, I think what Creed does better is the character developments and the story arcs for the characters. Where in Rocky, there's Rocky who has obviously the overall arc, and then you have Adrian, and Paulie doesn't really necessarily change all that much because he's still a fuck up and a screw up.
Why would you give me a job? All you gonna do is ask.
You know what annoys me about the Rocky franchise in general? Fucking Rocky's son. He's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like he may have been only 8, but in Rocky 4 he was a dickhead. In Rocky 5 he was a major league douchebag. Rocky Balboa, douchebag once again, and he does make an appearance later on. So be on the lookout for that. But for me, it's like, why is Rocky's kid such a fucking prick for? Like, what's his fucking deal? Like, what's your problem, bro? Like, your dad is like the coolest dad in the world, right? Nicest guy in the world, right? And, yes, I understand that you've had millions of dollars and you didn't, and that sucks. But damn, bro, like, fucking relax. His character in Rocky 5 was so fucking cringeworthy. Like, there's a part at the end where Rocky's fighting Tommy Gunn. He's like, knock him out, Dad. He took my room. Like, fuck off. Like, your dad's out there getting his ass fucking whooped right now, and all you're fucking care about is your fucking room? Like, what's your problem? Like, what a fucking douchebag. And the other big issue, I guess, with the Rocky franchise is the lack of continuity, especially when it comes, like, to the timeline, because we go back to Rocky's son from Rocky 4 to Rocky 5, and not a whole lot of time has passed. He goes from, like, 8 to, like, 14 real fast. So they always had issues with that.
She lied about when she got pregnant. They got married way late. So I'm just saying,
Even with Adonis Creed, if and I don't know how I feel about the characterization of Apollo Creed having a son outside of marriage. Like, that shit happens. I get it, but in no way have we seen in any of the films Apollo being any kind of a womanizer. Like, it doesn't seem like it was in his character at all.
Yeah.
But we may have not seen that, but it's never been explicitly stated in any of the films that, he liked women and liked cheating on his wife.
Without spoilers, does Carl Weathers make an appearance like Happy Gilmore?
No. I think there's some archival footage, like the flashbacks and shit, but he's not in it. But there is a chock full of fucking whole bunch of characters returning for Creed 2, so be on the lookout for that. There's some nice little Easter eggs there, and I think it's almost like a sequel to Rocky 4. You know what I mean? So yeah. I thought that was really neat. It kind of wraps up that story. They did a good job. Obviously, if you watch the trailers, you see Ivan Drago's in the movie, and they actually gave him lines this time. And actually, Dolph Lundgren's become a hell of an actor. He did a fucking great job.
Nice. So
it's a lot more than like, oh, I must break you type shit. It's like he has depth to his character. So instead of being like essentially a machine, a monster for Rocky to slay, he's he has his own set of character development in Creed 2. But yeah, the continuity in those movies are fucked because like Rocky 1 takes place in 76. I think Rocky 2 takes place in 77, like because it's right after the first movie. Like you basically can run those together. Yeah. And then Rocky 3, I don't know when that's supposed to take place. I know a lot of people say that's supposed to take place in 79, but the movie came out in 82. And Rocky 4 takes place in 1985, so that's like 6 years from when he beat Mr. T but that's not expressly said anywhere. And for Apollo Creed to have a son outside of marriage in 1985, that would make his kid, who is just becoming a professional boxer, 30 years old when he starts. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't know where the fucking timeline fucking...
Maybe they had his semen saved in a freezer somewhere.
I would hope so. You know, someone did a YouTube video where it's like Rocky staring at one of the fucking one of the dancers when Apollo Creed is dancing with James Brown. It's like, that's fucking Adonis' mom right there. What a bitch.
Nice.
But you know, it's sad because Apollo was supposed to be, you know, a really stand-up guy, and they did make him into a womanizer. I guess we all have faults, but it's kind of tough when it's never been explicitly stated in any of the films prior to that.
Yeah.
So that's always been strange to me because, you know, even in like, he's the villain in the first Rocky and the second Rocky as well, but he's not a bad guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not Clubber Lang, he's not Ivan Drago, he's not Tommy Gunn. Like, he's not necessarily a bad guy. Even in the first movie, he's pretty much a babyface. Like, you know, the whole movie. You know, he's looking for, like, oh, the guy he was supposed to fight, he got injured, and he's going to give Rocky a shot. The second movie, he's a little bit more of a heel, but even at the end, he's like, oh, you deserve it. You know, you won. You know, he had sportsmanship and stuff like that. And obviously, in the third movie, he comes to Rocky's aid. So, you know, what was also funny is, like, whatever happened to Apollo's other two kids? Like, they're missing. Like, not mentioned at all. Like, because we see them in Rocky 2. He has a daughter and he has a son. And in addition from Adonis, and they're not in the movies at all. Like, not even a mention of those guys. So I always thought that was fucking strange to me. The Rocky series, for all its faults, is fucking fantastic. I love all those movies, for the exception of 5. And I know that's like, hey, everyone hates 5. There's elements of 5 that sound good. Like, I don't necessarily mind the fact that Rocky loses all his money, because that's happened to a lot of boxers, right? A lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes. That's something that happens, right? Then, and some of the deleted scenes are pretty good too, because I was watching the deleted scene of Rocky 5 where they actually mentioned that, oh, you know, Adrian said, why can't Rocky do commercials? And he said no, because it came out recently that you were a muscle for a local mafia member and loan sharking, and that's all come to light. And his criminal past has come to light, because I think people don't realize that, because, you know, Rocky worked for a lower end mafia dude, fucking like breaking fingers and shit. So it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because they're trying to get the angles about why he can't make more money, and try to get him into a fight with who was the guy's name in that movie? I forget. Union Kane would have been the guy from Rocky 5. But it's even, you know, it's someone, I don't know if it's a fan story. But I heard it got released, where it talks about what happened to Drago after Rocky 4, and what kind of happened to some of the other characters in Rocky. But they never used any of this stuff. You know, it wasn't a book. But they said that Clubber Lang, after losing to Rocky, found Jesus and became a preacher, which kind of makes sense, because he was based on George Foreman a little bit, and that's what Foreman did after he lost to Ali. He basically went away, became a preacher, and then he started doing Meineke commercials. And then he came back to become the heavyweight champion of the world in the 90s. And then they said the whole thing with Drago is that Drago went on to beat Tommy Gunn for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then eventually lost it to Mason Dixon. But they didn't use any of those stories for Mason the Line Dixon. But they never used any of those stories for the new Rocky film. I think the new Rocky films, they're pretty good. I mean, they're really, really, really good. I really do enjoy those. You know, I saw someone bitching on Twitter that how come it has all this rap music in it? And I'm wondering to myself, did they not watch Rocky 5? Because Rocky 5 is chock full of hip-hop. Like, that's pretty early on. That's 91. And he had a lot of rap music in there. So, you know, Stallone, big hip-hop head from what I understand. But, you know, there's so many cool things about the series, about all, I guess, 8 movies now, right? 6 and 2, 8 movies now. I don't know. I don't think they necessarily need to make another one. They could.
I think it depends on how what's his face Michael B. Jordan feels about it.
Well, I think Michael B. Jordan should probably win the Oscar for this film.
Yeah,
I think so. Like it's that good, and I'll be shocked if he doesn't. And he's going to become he already is a big time actor. I think Creed 1 really kind of elevated him, and then obviously being in Black Panther elevated him to the next level. And yes, he was in that shitty Fantastic Four movie, but I don't hold that against him. You know what I see? I want to see Creed take on any character they can fit for Donald Glover. Like, I think Donald Glover in the Creed series as the villain would be fucking awesome.
Okay.
Because I think he's fucking dope as hell. And I think that would be fucking fantastic. But I like to see, like, because eventually you want to get past the Rocky thing. If you're going to do more Creed movies, you kind of have to get past the Rocky thing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have that Rocky die. Because Rocky should be immortal, essentially. Or, you can have him die off screen, or he's not doing this no more. You know what I mean? And then you can kind of move on, for another 2 or 3 movies with Creed if you wanted to. But I'd honestly like to see Donald Glover versus Michael B. Jordan, because I think that'd be a hell of a fight. Because Donald Glover he's in fucking really good shape right now too. He's looking jacked.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking in good shape. So I think Michael B. Jordan's going to be. I'm not going to say he's going to be like Rock level movie star, but I think he's going to be close. Let's get some action movies underneath his belt. I think he can do some good stuff. So I really like him as an actor. So again, we talk about the final round, the 1988 Konami game. It has your Rocky elements in there. You have Mike Tyson as a final boss. Again, you can't get more 80s than this. Heck, the Bronx Bruiser is a fast, unpredictable Brazilian fighter, which is weird to me.
All right.
Remember how big fucking boxing was in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
It was fucking huge. What happened?
They got a bunch of shitty fights because while Tyson was good and could be killing everybody, they didn't have really good matchups. I think they focused on heavyweights too much, and they dismissed all the lightweight divisions. So people were like, "Oh, lightweights, they suck." But some of the best fights are lightweight, lighter weight fighters.
Yeah, man. I think like who's the draws right now in boxing with Mayweather, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or a Triple G.
Yeah, but it's like it felt like there was so many like you go through the 80s, you start rattling them off. You can start with Tyson, but then you go to Sugar Ray, you go to Hearns, you go to Hagler. You go to like a lot of all-time greats. Roberto Duran. There's so many guys, and they felt like there was a big fight like every 2 months or so. And then you're watching all those Tyson fights. You know what I mean? He's fucking obliterating fucking people.
Yeah.
Until Buster Douglas. And I would love to see that fucking Holyfield Tyson fight. Unfortunately, Tyson for him went to prison. So, that would have been awesome. And then you had like even Tommy Morrison coming off the popularity of the fucking Rocky movies. You had Evander Holyfield. You had Lennox Lewis. You had Riddick Bowe, who I think is super underrated. I don't think people give a lot of credit to Riddick Bowe. He had a hell of a video game too for the Super Nintendo, which was really good. So, but yeah, the fucking. Do you remember when fucking when Douglas beat Tyson?
Oh, yeah, I remember that night vividly.
Like, you remember how big of a fucking deal that was? That was like the fucking. To me, it was like, oh my god, like it was impossible. Because no one took Buster Douglas seriously. Like, no one. And, and a lot of people say that was a fast count or whatever, but, he for that moment in time, he is the best fighter in the world. And he proceeded to get fucking obliterated by fucking Holyfield in the next fight. But,
oh my god. Yeah.
Fucking bad. But, I think even Holyfield gets underrated a little bit now. When people talk about, a guy was a cruiserweight who fucking bulked up by, some say nefarious means or whatever, but, he's a pretty sizable guy by the time he fought Tyson. I don't know if 1991 Holyfield could have beat Tyson, because there was such a size disparity there. So, I don't know. It's definitely something to look into. But when it comes down to the final round, I think overall it's a fun arcade game. Again, like other arcade games, they're difficult and they're made to suck the quarters out of you. I only got past the second guy. Could not get past the second guy, so I apologize for that, and I'll try to do better next time. But yeah, Alright, guys, so we are officially out of time. So, for Matt Riley, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we